Yeah, so my name is Clarence. I'm from Alibaba Cloud Intelligence. I'm a solutions architect and I'm based here in the Philippines. I'm going to be talking about Alibaba Cloud and cover some introduction for our organization, as well as talk about some of our industry insights and best practices, as well as solutions targeted for some of the chosen industries. So let me start. All right, so here are some of the milestones or history for Alibaba Cloud. We actually started in the year 2009, and initially we supported our Alibaba Group, the different businesses and business units within our ecosystem. Actually, the first application that went live in Alibaba Cloud was called Sheepdog, which is an internal loan application tool for the group. As the technology became more mature, we started to get more confidence because we've been using the technology. So we started serving this to our customers. Initially, the first customers in mainland China. And then in 2014, we started to serve this to other international customers as well. And in 2017, we've partnered with and become the cloud services provider for the Olympic Games. And so it shows that we are gaining the more customers and more multinational organizations. And in the recent years, we have started to gain actually more multinational customers, especially those that are looking into expanding their operations and their businesses in the Asia Pacific region. In the past years, right, we have seen a huge growth from our beginnings and to becoming one of the top cloud service providers in the world. And we still see a lot of growth from the awareness for cloud adoption, the increase of more infrastructure as well as regions, the increase in the market share, the maturity of the technology, as well as the continuous innovation. In the next 10 years, what we are seeing is an increase in digitalization. We are seeing that more and more on-premises infrastructures as well as workloads will be moving to the cloud. That movement will power the digitalization of a lot of businesses. They will be employing technologies such as IoT. And that will grow where everything will be connected and a lot of these devices will be providing data and sending that over to the cloud. So that the cloud will provide you the computing power, the storage, to be able to analyze those data and to help make better decisions for businesses. So in Alibaba Cloud, right, we are actually part of the Alibaba Group. And the Alibaba Group captures about 95% of users in China. How did we able to capture that market? Because we have a lot of business units and business groups in different industries, such as in the financial space, where we have unfinancial. In marketing, we have Alibaba. In logistics, we have Cainiao, and also different business groups in the retail space, consumer space, as well as in the digital media and entertainment space. Now, you might be familiar with some of the brands, right? Particularly Lazada in the Philippines. What we're trying to show here is that at the very bottom of that image here is Alibaba Cloud. Alibaba Cloud is out there at the bottom because it is actually the foundation. It provides the technology backbone to be able to empower these businesses within our group, within our ecosystem that is actually operating in different vertical industries. So what we're trying to say here is that we have learned from our businesses in these different industries, and we are also providing these same technologies to our customers internationally. So this slide shows the Alibaba Cloud Global Infrastructure. Um, this is it shows also the number of regions as of the moment. So right now we have 24 regions globally, and making that those 24 regions are actually 75 availability zones or data centers with their own independent power, cooling, and networking. We'd like to highlight some items in terms of technology here. So in our data centers, we have able to deploy water cooling, which is a more earth-friendly manner of maintaining operational efficiency for our servers, and it saves us a lot of energy consumption. Our data centers are highly secured and able to comply with data regulations, and it also built in with redundant systems so that we eliminate single point of failures. Alibaba Cloud is a global cloud service provider. We have coverage in North America, the territories in Europe, Middle East, as well and very much so in Asia. We are born actually in Asia, right? So you may notice that majority of the regions are actually located here, which is quite good for the Philippines, right? Because it gives us a lot of nearby regions to be able to choose where to deploy our services or workloads. We have heavily invested, in regions in the countries within Southeast Asia as well. So we have regions in Malaysia as well as Indonesia, and we are also considered as a global CDN provider with more than 2,800 nodes worldwide, and then that helps in delivering content efficiently at a global scale. And I've talked about us having a focus here in Southeast Asia, right? And especially in the Philippines. And so much so that we actually invested in the Philippines. And earlier this week, we have announced that we will be opening our cloud region here in the Philippines, in country. This was actually announced in our Alibaba Cloud Summit. So we believe that this will be able to accelerate the digital transformation of many businesses in the country, and also because of the pandemic, aid in the recovery of those businesses where we think technology can actually empower the business, right? To get them back into their feet, because a lot of these businesses have been negatively impacted by the pandemic. So we, since announcing, we've observed very good and positive feedback, and we are very much looking forward to working with our partners and helping our customers in providing the technology, the cloud, to help them in their digital transformation. So we are quite special, right? In a way that we have a key advantage in terms of we actually allow our customers to deploy their products and services in any of our global locations using only a single account. And that part of those locations include actually mainland China. So with the single account, you can access the same console to be able to deploy those resources to any of our 24 regions, including networking solutions. If you choose to deploy resources in your China, so you need to extend you need to network or connect to those workloads or resources, you are able to do so with a single account. So at this point, I'd like to show some highlights of our most recent Double 11 shopping festival, right? It was November 11, which happens every year. I'm sure a lot of you listening are familiar with the event, right? This is actually a global event. So please enjoy. Okay, so as I mentioned earlier, right, Alibaba Cloud acts as a technology backbone for the group, for the Alibaba Group. That means our cloud technologies that we actually offer to our customers is actually the same technologies that make events, global events such as the Global 11 Shopping Festival possible. And I'd like to illustrate how massive of an event this actually is, right? So on this slide, here are some numbers that we have from the most recent Double 11. So the total GMV reached actually 74 billion US dollars, which is 26% year-on-year growth. And we were able to achieve this number with, while supporting 583,000 peak orders in a single second. And with more than 800 million participating customers and more than 31,000 overseas brands that are participating. And we were able to achieve and support these kinds of demand from the customers on a global scale because we were able to use our technologies, our cloud native products, and also by embracing innovation and utilizing containers to support majority of our businesses. This was achieved with no incidents, right? And so this kind of speaks volume into the capability of the platform, of the technology to be able to support this kind of massive event. So to put this into scale, right? And to provide some comparison as well, that 74 billion US dollar GMV is actually 3 times greater than Cyber Monday, Black Friday, and Thanksgiving combined according to our sources. So the customers that place their workloads in Alibaba Cloud, they can feel confident that they are, choosing a platform that is, that has the capability to scale, to be able to support these kinds of events. So the technology is proven. We've been doing Double 11 for more than 10 years. Every year, we are quite proud that we are always breaking the previous records that we have set. So it's trending upwards. So let me take this next slides to talk about some of the industry solutions and best practices. For the first one will be the financial industry. So the financial industry has seen quite a few changes that has been brought about by the pandemic, right? By the COVID-19 pandemic. And financial inclusion has been a big goal in the Philippines, and it's been supported by the Philippine regulator. And the industry, a lot of the players in the industry has responded, right, with solutions that are able to, so that they would be able to reach many of the still unbanked Filipinos. And we've seen the need to be able to extend, or the need for these players to, that they will be able to extend their services and be able to quickly reach their customers. So they are looking for solutions that would allow them to do that. They're looking for solutions that could provide them onboarding through different and new channels aside from the traditional ones. So I'll be talking about some of our solutions for these industries. So the first one is MPAS, which is a mobile development platform that actually originated in the Alipay app. It provides an end-to-end solution to help enterprises in mobile development, mobile application testing, as well as maintenance and operations. It offers a platform to develop financial grade super apps. And these super apps can allow you to integrate different business modules in a pluggable manner. So this allows for the transformation and upgrading of financial industry players' mobile products. And as you've seen here, you see some of the benefits from the different customers that have actually looked into adopted the MPAS platform. The next solution is actually an eKYC solution that we call ZOLOS. This helps in digitally onboarding customers, right, using the mobile app of the financial institution. This is a pure technology solution which actually uses AI and deep learning, so that it will be able to successfully authenticate, the IDs or the documents that are actually presented during the eKYC process by the end user that is onboarding. This eliminates a lot of the manual KYC work traditionally, right? And this is provides a cost-effective solution, because instead of maintaining a number or huge number of a team that will manually perform authentication and validation, it is done using technology, so that these people that used to do that, they can actually work on upskilling, learning new skills, or retooling, and working on more valuable activities for the organization. Because this solution utilizes technology, so the results are actually presented in a more timely manner compared to a traditional manual approach. A whole application on average will take about 3 minutes, and the actual approval, the time that it takes for the solution to make a decision, typically that's less than 10 seconds. So it's quite fast, right? So it also talks to about the user experience as well, right? So the solution is also quite easy to deploy. This is a SaaS application. So in order to use this, you just need to integrate the ZOLOS SDK to the mobile app. And during the eKYC process, it will just need to call some APIs in order to complete the authentication. The mobile SDK that we provide is quite comprehensive and is the lightest in the industry. So it's easy to be able to integrate. Also, another thing that I would like to highlight is that this solution is certified level 2-4 presentation attack detection. That means this has gone through some validation, and that it has passed the necessary requirements to be able to achieve this level of certification, because it was able to detect complex attacks, such as a usage of masks when we actually check for when we ask for a picture of the person that is onboarding. So this solution has gone through really strict tests to be able to achieve this certification. And at this level, only a handful actually of providers, solution providers, have achieved this certification. What this provides our customers that will look into the ZOLOS solution is that the user, anyone that will be onboarded, will actually have to present a real face, because it will be able to detect if it is presenting a different face, or maybe if the face is behind complex masks. We own this technology that is actually achieved this certification. So unlike a lot of our competitors, we can optimize this as needed, and we do not have to go through different teams or organization if we need to do some work on the technology. Another thing that I would like to mention is that the requirement to actually achieve this level of certification is that it has to go through 1,000 attacks, and there should be no acceptance from fraudulent attacks during that test. So it's quite comprehensive. And the eKYC process is also quite easy. Once you start the process, all you have to do is take a picture of the ID that you present. Next is that you take a selfie. Our AI then checks the authenticity of the document. It will also check based on the selfie, check for liveness, and then it will do a face match on the picture on the ID as well as the picture taken from the selfie, right? When both is good, then we can say that the person is real, the document presented is real, and then we can trust them, right? And to ease also the process for the KYC, we also use OCR technology, which is the automated extraction of information that was taken from the document presented, the ID, right? So that you already have information such as the names, birthdays, addresses, and other important information that are actually taken from the ID. So ZOLOS has developed these different checks to be able to validate the IDs, right? So it can perform a template check, a material check, tampering check, and as well as a security check. So very quickly, the template check, it sees that the ID is following the correct template and the information is where it's supposed to be. The design is correct, right? The material check is actually will check right if the ID being presented is made out of the correct material. If the fraudster is trying to present an ID through a screen because it was a modified ID or through a printed paper, it will be able to identify that. We can we can use the flash on the phone to check the material so that we know that, because different materials will have different reflections. So we would know what if it is following the right material. It also does check for tampering, right? A lot of the times, the attackers would not want would tamper the ID. So if there is any tampering that we see, we can flag that and we can do a check on that, as well as a security check. Depending on the card design, right, it can check for the security features of the card, such as maybe a laser film on the ID or maybe a hologram. And we can check the reflections against these security features, and it can be checked by the AI. So these checks and validations are actually, all of these checks, they are graded, they are placed or inputted in our risk engine. And then the risk engine uses algorithm to come up with one of three results. That's either a reject, a pending, and a pass. And this is, when we say pass, it's a very low likeness that it is a fraud attempt. When we say it's reject, there's a high probability that there is fraud being attempted. And when it's pending, something we might have, the system might have seen something that the customer may be interested in looking at for a manual review. And typically what we've seen is that we can reduce the manual reviews by a huge margin. And so the risk, it can also be adjusted depending on the risk appetite of the customer. The next solution is actually SMS, and I would like to speak about some statistics here. So we've actually increased in the total population, and the people aged from 16 to 64, there's 94% of them, almost everyone has a mobile phone, right? And this statistics kind of gives some importance to a solution that will allow customers to be able to reach an effective way to be able to reach their customers, right? Because mobile phones would support SMS. And so this allows customers to, to maybe stay ahead of their competition, launch GTMs very quickly and timely, reach to their customers. And this is kind of, SMS, an SMS service can help you with that, right? It can allows you to interact, with your consumer. It's easy to deploy, and there's a lot of use cases for this solution. So our Alibaba Cloud SMS provides global coverage with access to over 200 countries, and that includes China. It's quite easy to use. SDKs and APIs are available in 5 different languages. It is also secure and stable. It's been serving billions of messages per month, and it's running on Alibaba Cloud infrastructure. So some of the use cases for this kind of solution, right? One-time passwords, maybe promotional campaigns, push notifications, transaction notifications, logins, right? And this can work in both the domestic market as well as the international market. So we'd also like to talk about the security compliance, since the FSI industry is a heavily regulated industry, and we take this quite seriously. So Alibaba Cloud is has the global certifications and the different ISO certifications, and is actually committed in adopting a globally recognized best practice. We adhere to the security standards of the countries and regions where we deploy our services, and we are heavily audited, and we are also compliant with the different industry certifications such as PCI DSS, that might be a HIPAA for the healthcare industry, MPAA for media. So for the Philippines, we support the regulators' mission and offers our product to the FSI industries, our solutions to the FSI industry. To demonstrate, right, our compliance with the guidelines issued by BSP, we had ourselves audited. So we engage in a reputable and independent auditor that inspected our compliance against the applicable requirements of the BSP. And you see that these different circulars here on the right. We also are compliant with the National Privacy Commission's Data Privacy Act. So for Alibaba Cloud Security capabilities, this is a from Gartner, which is a solution comparison for the cloud service providers native security capabilities in 2020. So it is quite a comprehensive and authoritative assessment that reports on the security capabilities of cloud service providers. And we'd like to say that we scored actually a high grade, a high mark from the 11 out of the 24 assessment criterions across these 7 security domains. And on the security domain of network security, under network security, we actually had the most number of high marks among the other cloud service providers that were included in this study by Gartner. So we are quite good. We take in this space. We are. It's been validated by different studies by third party, and we take security quite seriously. So for the e-commerce space, there were a lot of challenges that the pandemic brought forward to these businesses. A lot of the businesses that were reliant initially on offline transactions had to innovate, and they have to look for ways so that they can overcome the challenges brought upon by the pandemic. So they have to shift their businesses models to online. So that brings a lot of importance to the ability to scale, because it's a competitive industry. So you have a lot of promotions, a lot of which means, right, when you do this promotion, there's gonna be a spike in the demand from the consumer. So the technology has to be able to support that shifting demand, and as well as to protect, right, the online presence. Because if you have an online presence, you are a possible target for an attack, for a denial of service attack, or any attack by a threat actor. So you need to be able to have protection and also still be able to provide excellent user experience by providing good performance. So one of our solutions for this is actually our Kubernetes service, which is built on top of our Alibaba Cloud infrastructure. So it can be in a public cloud, in an edge computing, or in a private computing environment. It integrates with our compute portfolio, our network portfolio, as well as our storage portfolio. There are 2 flavors or offerings for the Kubernetes service, right? The first one is a managed Kubernetes, which is for ACK. And the next one is the serverless Kubernetes, which is ASK. For managed Kubernetes, that means that the worker nodes will be managed by the customer, and then the master node will be managed by Alibaba Cloud. And then for serverless, both the master and the worker nodes will actually be managed by Alibaba Cloud. because it has seamless integration with other products, right? So it can work really well with an ECS instance, bare metal instance, or our container instances. As well as for networking, you can create your clusters inside your own VPCs and export services in our load balancer or SLB. And then you can use persistent storage to persistent volume to, and use our storage products such as OSS, our objects storage service, as well as NAS. Okay, so the ability to improve the customer experience can be done by CDNs, right? And typically, when you don't use CDN, that might mean that you are at the mercy of the public internet, where there might be a long distance from where the user is to where the application is actually hosted. You might be fighting against other consumers, so there might be congestion and there might be some unreliability in the network. So that might mean that it might be the performance of the application might be not optimal, right? So CDN can provide some solution to that. Static content, and for e-commerce sites, that's a lot of images, right? A lot of videos as well. Some JavaScripts or CSS style sheets that make up a web page, right? So those static contents can actually be cached and be served from the nearest CDN nodes to the user. But what about something that are content that are dynamic, right? That are quite unique to a customer. Then we can use dynamic CDN. So the dynamic CDN will actually make use of the same CDN nodes, right? But it looks at links or paths that are congested and unreliable, and then it makes intelligent routing decisions so that it always chooses the best path going from the source to the destination when it tries to take content from the origin servers. So in terms of security, we have actually integrated some of our security products into dynamic CDN, and we call that secure dynamic CDN. We are able to provide this as a single product, and it can actually provide the content delivery by dynamic CDN, as well as the security for anti-DDoS and WAF. So typically, right, when threat actors, right, would try to target your application, a CDN node might be able to mitigate basic or very modest network layer attacks. But since attackers or threat actors will actually try to massively do an attack, right, against their targets, so that means, right, a basic CDN node may not be able to provide the necessary protection, and that might mean an unavailability. So if that is the case, what we can do is that when we detect this, we can make use of our anti-DDoS scrubbing centers. So we can reroute the traffic that we see from an attack to the anti-DDoS scrubbing centers that we have globally. And these scrubbing centers can filter the traffic, clean the traffic, traffic, so that only the clean traffic actually goes to the origin server, and the malicious traffic is actually eliminated. For the enterprises, we see that a lot of enterprises that start their journey to the cloud and begin developing their applications and businesses in Alibaba Cloud, right? We see that it is important that we take away as much of the complexity of this adoption as much as possible to reduce this during the journey. And for this section, I will talk about the IT governance on cloud for enterprises. So IT and cloud governance, right? According to Gartner, IT governance is the process that ensures the effective and efficient use of IT in enabling an organization to be able to achieve its goals. And according to the Open Group, cloud governance is a view of IT governance that is focused on accountability, defining decision rights, and balancing benefit or value, risk, and resources in an environment embracing cloud computing. So what that means to me is that cloud governance is an extension of IT governance. It's an extension of the enterprise's governance to the cloud environment. And it should provide a structure for organizations to use the technology in order to support the goals of the business. Some statistics and trends, right? More than about 3/4 of IT operation teams that were included in the survey actually says that the complexity of the environment is a barrier to their productivity. Another one is that cybersecurity and the lack of talent for cybersecurity, as well as cloud management, is one of the top concerns for enterprises. So what we've been seeing here is that enterprises are worried about maintaining their posture, the security posture, but they are also worried about the complexity of a new environment. That is why a landing zone makes some sense. So the Alibaba Cloud Landing Zone can able to provide our enterprise customers with a complete set of best practices so that they could get started on their cloud journey more quickly. It allows enterprise customers to be able to quickly set up a secure and multiple account environment in the cloud, which is important. An environment that they could set up that can extend the governance that they have on premises, so that you can able to produce some policies to provide guardrails to your environment. It also should be an environment that allows for management of costs, so that can help ensure so that the proper business group or proper department within the enterprise are actually built according to their actual cloud usage. It should be also allows for an environment for monitoring of metrics, which can automatically trigger alerts or maybe corrective actions, and alerting via different channels to the proper teams, so that they can take appropriate actions. The landing zone also allows for an environment that that you can allows the enterprise the ability to configure their security and their network to be able to be deployed according to their plans and to their designs. That minimizes configuration creep. And this is really meant for the enterprises to be able to adapt to the cloud more quickly, and so that they do not have to completely reinvent the wheel. So when we think about our landing zone methodology, this is actually a concept, right? And because a lot of the customers are not yet quite familiar with how to implement IT governance on the cloud yet, right? So sometimes what we observe is that it takes quite a long time to get the workload migrated or spin up in cloud environment. So what we try to advise our customer and our enterprise customers is that from the very beginning, we bring in all the important stakeholders, the key stakeholders, and maybe that might mean that we create a cloud center of excellence. We need to plan ahead, right? So we need to be talking to the different teams such as R&D, network, security, the compliance teams, and we need to plan. And that might mean that we need to execute in sprints, right? And that's typically a 2-week cycle. And what we've seen is that when you do this planning and when you adopt a landing zone concept, right, you are able to implement an IT cloud governance at speed. And also because that guardrail or that governance is already present, that also means that the scaling is also faster and more efficient. That means that the value for the cloud journey is actually achieved in a much more efficient manner. So this kind of provides that balance between having control and efficiency. So allows you to scale up quickly, but at the same time, because the guardrails are already set, you still have everything within the enterprise's control. This is actually the last slide, and I apologize if I was over by a couple of minutes. If you are interested in any of the solutions, you may reach out to us. And thank you for your time